2, 3.
Is it?
It is.
Are we live?
We are live.
Yes, we're live.
Oh, hey, that's awesome.
Hello, everyone.
Already, hello. Hey guys.
Sai,
Yes.
hello, and thank you very much for hosting this, by the way. Get it from here.
Thank you.
All yours.
Yes, I am Sai and Demetrius.
Benji.
I am Dimitris.
Oh. I saw the hand. I didn't know who was gesturing it because on our feed we're in one direction. It's like Demetrius.
He's Benji. I'm Benji. Thank you for the introductions. So welcome to this week's World Anvil Twitch. We'll be talking about a lot of things, including the Tale Foundry competition, and we have Benji and Chloe here with us. And we'll be going over a Q&A with them later on. We'll also be going over this week's and next week's Demetrius's development updates and lots of raffles. So
Lots of raffles. All the raffles.
we'll be announcing winners to raffles, and we'll also have a raffle in stream. So remember to type in ! and raffle, RAFFLE, lowercase. So please
you
get in
take
there,
part.
and we'll be announcing the winners later on.
Excellent. Right, so what is the first item to our list, my beloved?
We'll be going through next and last week's development updates. I
Oh my
believe.
god, yes, that's my part. It's my part,
Yeah,
guys.
that's your part.
Hello, everybody. I'm really glad to be here as well, and thank you very much, Sai, for introducing everybody. I think it's one of the really interesting streams this time around because we have Chloe, Chloe and Benji. For some reason, I was about to say Zoe and Chloe, which I don't want to go into detail, but it actually has some personal. Anyway. You don't want to know about that. Actually, you do, but you don't want to. Anyway, I won't go into detail. So, let's talk about what happened last week. First of all, for those who follow up, we have finished with our co-authors subgroups issues we had. We fixed them, so everything is fine at this point. We've added the ability to have multiple organizations related to a location, which means now that you can go to your location template and define something, some organization as contesting the territory. So you can have the organization who owns a territory, but also you can have the organization who is contesting this territory. So you can define more, the location and what is going on there, if it's during essentially war or before a war or anything like that. We've added the ability for ethnicities to be connected with locations. We have added the ability to connect them with languages and also with species, which is something that a lot of people asked for, and I think was very important to put there. So here it is, you have it now. We've added the ability for people to remove themselves from worlds if they are co-authors of these worlds, because we know very well that sometimes things, change, and you end up having worlds that are not your own, and you just essentially populate your dashboard and there is nothing to do with them. So now you can remove them if you want to. We've added the ability to have a journey into the map, which it's very nice because you can create effectively a line that you can connect to different points and show journeys or show, for example, trade routes, migration of population, or anything else like that. We've added new helpers for polygon and line drawing, so it makes it much easier. And finally, something changed. I can hear myself.
Uh-oh.
Who did something? Somebody did something.
We didn't do anything.
It's Benzi, isn't it?
Yeah, it might be us.
It's okay. And finally,
you.
for you people that have your own Discord server and you want to show your work in World Anvil in your server, we've added webhooks, which means that if you're a member of the guild, you can define a server as create a webhook, and every time that you post new things on your world, this will be shown in that channel in a beautiful link and an image for your item. Next week, we will be starting to work on the guild hall features for voting and posts for the guild. I will be adding the ability to create lists of articles based on the alphabetical order of the articles, and I will be probably starting working in full in the to-do list, which I think is something that everybody is excited about, because the to-do list will mean that once you create a placeholder in your article, you will be able very quickly to go and see which articles you want to create later on, which I think that everybody wants. I know I do. That's all from me, Sai.
Oh yes,
Back
thank
to
you
you.
very much, Demetrius. So next on our list is the Tale Foundry competition weekly review. Woo! So I'm going to the stats page and announcing some exciting developments. We have 497 total entries, guys. That's a lot of articles to read.
Huge.
And
That's a lot of
a
articles
lot of
indeed.
participants. We have 157 total competitors.
Which is very good compared to other competitions we have. If you think about it, normal competitions take about a maximum of 80 entries within a month, and having almost double that in a week, that's pretty good. I think we're doing great.
Yeah. Yes, it's great. We have the top people on the prompts completed. We have Night One, Hasio Amon Yamazaki, and Pyros1314. Good job, guys. There are over 10 prompts already. So I believe they're already completed because you only need 5 mandatory, right?
Yeah.
And then there's optional. So there's already people that are completing this challenge super fast. There's likes in total for competition's body of work. We have Pika Jinx at 19, Garrett Dodd at 13. They've completed over double digits, and Chaos Kitsune getting up there at 6.
Excellent.
You guys are doing great. Just keep sharing. You have to get your stuff out there. Make sure you communicate and just promote yourself. Don't be afraid and get those likes, because those likes are very important to get on the short list to submit to Benji and Chloe for judging.
Because of course Benji and Chloe cannot trade over like 500 entries, and we're just in the beginning. I mean, let's be serious.
Yeah. So we encourage everyone to share your work. Use the Worldbuilding review, and just use whatever social channels that you can, because we want to see you get your work out there. And so, good job, everyone that's working hard on that. Words in total for competition's body of work. We have Night One, Garrett Dodd, Pyros, 1314, Ruby Moon.
The truth is...
Oh, go ahead.
No, the truth is that you cannot really go over 6,000, can you? Because then you're disqualified, so...
That's true, yeah.
Let's hope that people stay underneath 6,000, because if you don't go over 6... Okay, I mean, if it's 6,002, I think it will be fine, right, Benzi? I mean, we won't cut everybody's head for 6,002 words, but let's be serious.
Just don't give us an extra hour.
There's people already around the 5,000 mark.
Yeah,
so.
That's good. That's really good.
Yeah. And yeah, so that's what is the current stats for the Tale Foundry stats page. So it's really neat. Oh, Kaora donated some bits. Thank you, Kaora.
Thank you very much. And that is amazing. You know, guys, we didn't have any subscribers since like the last stream. We got 3 of them, and I actually have to talk about it because I'm super excited about it. I would like to thank you, Switch, Mr. Vanderlus. Is that correct? Am I saying that right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yes, and I'm Switch. Pathetic Bile, PB. Thank you so much, and thank you very much.
You also said actually. So.
Oh, there it is.
Sorry, not sorry, but yes. So, for people who don't know who these beautiful people here are with us today, we have Chloe and Benji from Tale Foundry. Once again, guys, thank you very much for being here. It's very nice to have you.
Thanks for having us. This is awesome. This is actually the first time we have ever done this, like a live stream with our actual faces on the camera. So it's a lot of fun. It's an experience.
I can say very truthfully that it's a great honor to have you here, because most of the people already here know that you are amazing people and you care so much for the community. You've done so many great things. No, really, it is true. You've done so good work during the last 2 years. Is that true?
We're on our 3rd year, but yeah, 2 full years and like 2 2/3.
That is awesome things. So talk to us a bit about Worldbuilding. Let's talk about it. And let's. By the way, guys, if you have any questions about the guys, as I am talking to them, just throw them in the chat, and I'm pretty sure we'll grab them and we can answer them. I'm pretty sure that the Hawkeyes of the beloved Sai and Chloe will be going through the text and check it out, everything. Right?
Right.
So, Benji, let's start with that. Tell me about what inspired you to start Tale Foundry.
So it was really a confluence of things, and I've answered this question before in an AMA. That answer was 25 minutes. So I'm going to try to.
Let's not do 25 minutes this time around.
So basically, it was a confluence of things. I had a lot of interest in writing. I wanted to be a novelist, but I've also had a lot of interest in just media production in general. I've been working on the Adobe Creative Suite, Photoshop, Premiere, InDesign, Illustrator, all of those programs for a decade or so now, and most of that comes from a background in game design. So I wanted a way to combine all of those interests. And while I was working on all these things, and while I was a novelist, and while I was going through school and figuring out what I wanted to do, I realized there was nothing on YouTube that I could just like passively listen to and enjoy as a writer or someone with these hobbies. So I was like, there's a void here, so maybe I could fill it. So maybe I could bring people something they can enjoy as people with an interest in literature and writing and stuff. And of course, the background in media production helped me to be able to create a show with some production value instead of just like talking at the camera.
Yeah, I think actually that's something very important about Tale Foundry. Not only you have very interesting script and very full script, but also it's an interesting experience to go through and look at your videos, which is great. You have to admit that the introduction you've done for Worldbuilding in your last video was probably the most beautiful thing I saw animated about Worldbuilding. So yeah, awesome.
Well, good. I'm glad. I spent so long trying to figure out like how to take your logo and animate it and like make it look good and stuff. And eventually I just got lucky and came across the right Creative Commons stock. And then just spent forever. That little glowy halo around it, that was like 6 hours of like research on how to make a glowy halo.
I'm really sorry and I'm really thankful. That's all I can say about that.
I'm going to be able to use that a million times. Those little god rays are like an essential effect for someone who's doing visual production.
Talking about design, talking about, in fact, what you've done for Worldbuilding, talk to me about Talebot and the whole steampunky kind of style that you have for Tale Foundry. Where did that came from?
I don't really know what caused this, but I went through a period of my life where I was just obsessed with drawing robots. And I would like, I don't know if you know, she met me after Tale Foundry had already begun and I was pouring this into something already. But she saw it because what I would do back in the day when I didn't have any outlets for my creativity, but I was very interested in robots for some unknown reason, I would draw them on people. Like I would get like a ballpoint pen and I would draw like temporary tattoos on people of robots and things.
That's amazing.
I want one.
Yeah, I had a folder full of these things. And I would take pictures and post them on Instagram and stuff. And Chloe got one of these when I first met her. So that was probably her first introduction to Tale Foundry in any capacity.
So it was like, hello, Chloe, do you want a robot? Kind of thing.
That was my opener. It was actually, she kidnapped me, took me somewhere, and I was feeling like claustrophobic, so I think I drew on her.
Oh.
Aww.
Therapy. Right, Chloe? That is excellent. That's a good story there. That's a very interesting idea. I never expected that.
On the style of Tale Foundry itself, when I talk to the artists we've been commissioning for stuff for the Foundry, we call this style ink stamp. And I guess the idea behind it is that we wanted to do something that was like, I just like machines, so I just wanted to do something with that initially. And the question was how to blend that with literature, because there's not any implicit like connection between the two things. So basically anything that could come out of a typewriter easily, and a typewriter is just a series of stamps. So when I was like templating all the designs for Tale Foundry and figuring out like what I was going to use video by video for style, I just took like a cracked ink mask and just used it for literally everything.
That's an interesting way of thinking. I mean, that's an interesting design decision as well. You can say that. What happened? Oh, oh, was there a drink? I think it was a drink from the guys.
I think there was a drink. I think I said
Oh,
you know.
did you say you know? Did you say you know? Did I miss that? I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Benji did say actually, but that's Demetrius.
No, that's mine, yeah.
Yeah.
I think Jimmy should drink for my actually.
Right, that's a very interesting one. In fact, I have to say that I kind of peeked behind your work process on working on the Talebot, and I was fascinated about how many like steals you had for the bot, because you know we can see them in the video moving around, and, you know, like pointing at things and doing things and thinking. I like the thinking. My favorite is on the thinking one. Yeah, I think
right down there.
it is by far the favorite. But yeah, that one take a lot of work to work on, like in every episode, like just, you know, going through and animating the dude.
It's funny because originally Talebot's concept was like, I was going to try to pad out the videos a little bit by having a narrator character with some simple animations. So instead of finding unique visuals or making unique visuals, I could just have him talk and use a couple of different frames throughout like swaths of the video and save myself time. It's totally the opposite now. Including Talebot is a ton of extra work now because like I want Talebot to be dynamic. So that means I have to make a lot of additional poses. And he's got like, there's a rig, I can pose him up and things like that, but it's a ton of work if I want to add like a new hand gesture, for instance. I have to go into Illustrator and like bust out the pen tool and start making angry things. So
I can imagine. But I have to admit that it does give a lot of character to your videos, because he's really expressing himself by just posing, and making a robot being expressive. I think it's quite a success. From Illustrator's perspective, yeah, I mean
it's weird because I didn't give him a mouth, and he doesn't have eyebrows, which are the two things humans use to express.
But you have the eyes changing a lot. Like I think that the eyes, in fact,
there's a huge amount you can express with just lids.
Yeah,
it's totally shocking to me.
So, you are in Tale Foundry for what? Like you said, about 3 years now, right?
Yeah, I was in it for a year and a half, I think. Then Chloe came on, and she's been in for a year, so that makes 2.5 years. We're in our third now. And
you've just grown a little bit the team as well with a new designer, as far as I understand, that you've got on board, correct?
Yeah, we plan to give him an official introduction in the next series, I think, because this one is so heavily integrative already. It feels like it'd be a bad time to like bring him on in the middle of the chaos. Plus, we're testing things out. We want to see how well he does video by video. We're confident, though. He's a great addition so far.
So good.
Yeah,
great.
Gold. So lucky to have found him.
He's also very patient, which is awesome.
I think
Nice.
I was about to say, you need to do that, because I know you, Benji, a bit. We've been working for about 2 months, and I know that you can be very demanding, and, you know, being patient, it's important. And it's a good thing, it's not a bad thing. Demanding in creative process is a good thing. So
it's more like go ahead.
No, go, please.
Oh, I'm just a pedant. Like we speculate. I have OCD, but
Oversharing.
Yeah, whatever. I'm just a pedant. I'm very particular with the way things happen. So with Felipe, it's really good that like 5 times in a row I can be like, this little thing, like his hand is posed slightly the wrong way. Can you fix that? And he'd be like, sure. Yeah.
Go, Felipe.
Looking at Felipe's work, we sent him like a few things that we wanted him to try out, and he came to me. He was like, "I'm not sure.
We can't use this guy.
We can't use him." And there was like tiny details that were wrong. Like totally, it was right on the mark, but it was
There's like a long list of tiny details that could easily be tweaked. And I saw that and I was like, no, there's no way. This is never going to work.
Well, just to let you know, guys, we've been working in this competition to put it up about 3 months now. I think a little bit more than that.
Yeah.
In the last days, I got the most interesting request I've ever got for feedback from Benji. Like this word, can we just remove that letter, move it like a bit to the left? And I was like, I'm not that patient with that thing, because I'm a creative as well. And I'm like, yes, okay. kind of thing. But no, it's
No reservations. That is totally me.
yeah, no, but that is coming with genius, I think. Like a bit of being a bit of being a bit of an ass. It's always a good thing for creativity. Trust me. So, working in Tale Foundry for 2 years and something must have seen some change, because I can tell you right now that we are in World Anvil today for 10 months exactly. We are celebrating 10 months today, and I can already not recognize what happens to World Anvil the last 10 months. How is it for somebody who's working on a project for about 3 years now?
Chloe's seen a lot of the change since we first started.
Talk to us, Chloe, then.
Yeah.
Well, it definitely changed a lot. Especially from its very beginnings. We weren't even
Terrible.
we weren't even doing that. He wasn't even doing that. He was just sharing stories through the robot of things that happened in real life. And then he moved on to something a little bit closer to what we ended up doing, and now we're finally here. But I think the real big change kind of started to happen right around the time that I want to say there was a major change when I.
Oh yeah. Having someone else on to give feedback changed everything. It's so hard to know what to do and to evaluate what I am doing when I'm alone. So having Chloe on, just like even at the start, before she began actively doing things on the show, just having her there, be like, I've written essays in the past, and I'm actually like, I went to high school and stuff where they taught me to write essays. I homeschooled, by the way, full disclosure. And she was able to be like, when you're writing an essay, don't completely bury your lead. And I was like, oh, I wouldn't have realized that's what I was doing in my scripts. Yeah. Back in the day, I was like, no, I want to punch when they realize it. So I better like do a long lead in and like a build up. Just like, no.
They want to know what you're talking about. I would just have to sit them down and say, look, if they don't know what you're talking about, you're going to lose them in the interim.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And these are like cerebral scripts. So I got to be as forthright as I can.
I can see that. And I have to admit that for me, in World Anvil, there is nothing more important than the feedback I get from the enchanters and the moderators and the administrators. Without them, World Anvil would have been quite different place. And of course, Janet. I mean, I'm not even considering Janet, but Janet, we are a very close team. So it's like I feel here like we are the same person kind of thing. But yeah, not really. Sometimes.
They call us Clogy on our server very often.
We do not have a nickname just yet. But I'm happy about that. Because I'm pretty sure we have included bananas.
Sounds like we've got some.
Yeah, I think so.
Let's see if we can fix that. Is this any better? Try talking better.
I am talking a bit better. No,
I am talking.
Test?
Okay. I don't know why like the computer randomly starts giving us feedback, but
it might just
I
be
think it's
lag.
okay.
Okay, yeah, now it seems fine.
Guys, let us know if.
Just leave it where it was. It was fine.
Okay.
No, leave it where it was.
Okay. All right. I think we are safe.
So, you are actually covering Worldbuilding now. You've covered before Slavic folklore, amazing story by the way, and before that you've covered Cthulhu Mythos, which is like one of my favorite videos, and I think many people's favorite videos. What is the topic that you dream of doing, that you really want to do and you haven't done because you're afraid of, or you want to, it's the kind of things that you're afraid of because you want to be perfect and you haven't done just yet, or something similar to that?
Sounds like Chloe has an answer.
He wants to do Magic the Gathering.
Kinda, well, a little bit. Mostly because I play it. And I've watched a lot of their material about the creative process, the creative writing. Hang on, and I'm really interested in how they decide to do these, like, because they release expansions. I'm really interested in learning about how they decide to do their world set by set, expansion by expansion, and what it's like to like crank out an entire world that rapidly and for a product. Granted, doing this series, I've learned a lot of the stuff I feel like I would have learned from the Magic the Gathering series, so that's kind of died a little bit. But the story behind that is I almost did a Magic the Gathering series in place of the Irish mythology series. For a long time. And Chloe convinced me to do the Irish mythology instead of the Magic the Gathering.
Cool.
Nice.
Right. Guys, don't forget, if you have any questions, please let us know at the comments.
There is a question for Benji.
Okay, let's go. What's the question?
Bookworm Power, what color do you main in Magic the Gathering?
My MO in Magic the Gathering is messing with other people's stuff. That said, I still like them to be able to play the game. So I'm going to say red is my favorite color because it lets me burn stuff. It lets me mess with things. It lets me commit to board without just saying no with counterspells and removing things with hard removal. So that's me.
Somebody might say that you're obsessed with Magic the Gathering, but it wouldn't be me. No.
It's not an obsession. It's just a
Healthy love. Like the kind of love that you take in bed intervening kind of thing. Healthy love.
I frequently use magic to procrastinate. That is absolutely true.
Yeah.
There was another question by Bookworm Power also. They said, what is Talebot? I think I missed it if they said what it was.
Oh.
Go on.
So we don't have a graphic. Oh, there's a graphic on the stream, actually.
There is actually, yeah.
Yeah, is that robot on the stream graphic in the bottom right? He is the host of our show, Tale Foundry. Basically, he is the automaton who delivers the analytics of the topic and just does the readings, short stories, and things like that. He's the voice of the show, and he comes with his own lorical background where like he exists and the place he's in, we're like exploring it and finding out more about it and stuff. So he's an interesting creation. We're still figuring out his kind of breadth.
That's an interesting answer to that. It sounds like there is lore behind this world that you're not telling about. Interesting. I want.
We are
they're
being
having echo again.
We do?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just watching a chat. Sorry, guys.
It's okay. I'm really sorry, guys. We're doing the best. It's not so easy to stop talking three people at the same time, just to be clear. It takes time to take care. Another question for you. We got from the community some days ago. How do you decide which topics you do?
This is not a process we have refined until very recently, in like the last 4 or 5 months, I would say.
Yeah. It's a lot of market research, actually. We're not quite big enough to do whatever we want yet, so we've got to delve into your myself.
That echo, yeah. I don't know.
They're commenting.
Oh man, I'm sorry. Okay. Is that any better?
I don't hear any echo.
I don't hear it either.
I think we're okay.
Okay, cool. It might have been us. It's hard to tell sometimes. So yeah, this is not something we've figured out until pretty recently, 4 or 5 months. It turns out to be a lot of market research, like Chloe was saying.
Yeah, it's a lot of market research. We have to figure out what topics have the most trending attention, basically, and then we have to figure out whether there's content on YouTube that exists that will drown us out because there's a lot of similar content, or if there's a lot of irrelevant content that will also drown us out. So you got to find that sweet spot of the right amount of views on the right kind of video, and the nice amount of videos. So it's a really thinning process.
It sounds more technical and complicated than people would have thought. I mean, at least more than I would thought. I would think like, I would like to do dragons, and I would just do dragons. But it sounds like you really know your stuff, and that's the reason you have 156,000 people following you as well, because you know your stuff, obviously.
It took a long time. We had to figure out, like, when Irish mythology boomed, what is this magic? Like, why is this happening? And eventually we kind of just came to, like, it must be the YouTube algorithm, like, favoring us and recommending us to people, because we couldn't find any other reasons. So basically, like Chloe said, it just comes down to how competitive the topic is and the density of searches for the term. on the platform. So SCP is a really good example of this. We have tons of requests to do a series on the SCP Foundation, which is just like a metafictional kind of thing, if you're not familiar with it.
No, we're go on, explain.
What's that?
Explain for people, because I don't think everybody would know that. Yeah.
Secure, contain, protect.
Secure, contain, protect. Yeah, it's just this metafiction thing where people band together and post articles about this foundation that supposedly secures anomalous things in real life and contains them so they won't affect the rest of the world. There are things like there's a nail that someone found apparently that if you drop it on someone's shadow, that shadow is now pinned to the ground and that person can't walk away from their shadow. And there's one where there's like an animate statue that if you take your eyes off it, it'll rush up and break your neck. Things like that. And it's like sci-fi horror, and we get tons of requests for this. People really want it. We really want to do it. The problem is, and it's got great search volume. The problem is, there are 5 billion videos on YouTube where people are playing a fan-made game, SCP Containment Breach. They're doing Let's Plays of it, and they're wildly popular. And there's just no way, like, in that sea of material, that our video
can compete. Yeah, I can imagine.
Unfortunately. Eventually we'll be able to just do it, but right now we are dependent a little bit on the algorithm.
Talking about SCP, because SCP is known very much for text format mostly, and the redacted. Like, the redacted is like one of the features of the platform, I think, a lot. Have you ever thought of working in a different format apart from video? And what would that have been if you were?
Initially, I wanted to be a novelist. That was the big dream, but I realized pretty quickly hard thing to do, like, successfully. You can do it. Like, there are definitely people out there who will write a novel and find an agent and sell it or publish it independently, but I just realized, listening to a bunch of different authors and frequenting a bunch of different forums and things, that it's insanely difficult to make that thing happen. So I looked for some more realistic avenues for a while. I eventually found Tale Foundry as a vector to be able to write and create content for writers. So,
but you see,
but if I wasn't, go ahead.
Sure. I was just saying that if you were to take what you have done in Tale Foundry and write a series of essays based on the topics, that would be something very interesting. I mean, I would have read it, that's for sure. Because you have such an amazing research done for each of them that you could just literally just take your script and format it into prose and essays. And that would be something very interesting. And then put a story at the end of each essay, kind of thing, which you already have as well.
We actually have this thing. It's interesting to bring this up because we actually have this thing called the literary paradigms document somewhere in our Google Drive. And it's like, it's really heavily organized. And it's where anything I learn about literature or writing, any like high concept, goes in there because I'm not going to remember it.
So maybe you should have some work to do there at some point. Maybe I think it would be very interesting.
So I could effectively kind of transcribe that, and I think people would love that. But
probably
we might have a discussion at some point, maybe co-publication or something like that. I have some ideas. Let's talk in the future.
I'd love to.
Talking about the future, what do you hope for Tale Foundry in the future? Where do you see it going?
Do you want to start with this one? Because I need to think for a sec.
Thanks.
Sorry, guys.
I'm not ready. Just take it.
So our first goal is to try and grow. I know it sounds kind of technical, but numbers-wise, we want to be able to be doing that content that we're really interested in making. Like, we want to do the content that everybody wants us to do.
SCP.
And we want to do this SCP. We want to do classics and go over a lot of these things that would be really fun to get into, and people would probably really like that already support us. But for now, right now we want to be able to just get the amount of people to be able to do those kinds of creating of content.
Yeah, and that is like on the technical side, you know, views, more than views equaling money, views equal capability.
Yeah.
Like the more we have on the thing, the more we're able to do. And with our community and stuff, it feels like one big collaborative process, because we wouldn't be able to do the majority of the things we are doing. We wouldn't be able to have this working with us. We wouldn't be able to like this. The computer I'm using right now that allows me to use After Effects and Premiere together at the same time is a product of a community that's supporting us and helping us to be able to run the show. You know, before I was using a thing that would like crash every 4 minutes or something.
I
It
don't
was
even
terrible.
know how we used it. It was so bad.
So bad.
It was, wasn't it blue
It
screening
would
every
blue
day?
screen, yeah, every day.
Oh, that's terrible.
I'm sorry for your loss. I've been there. I know the feeling. Yeah, I know the feeling very well. Talking about community, you have a Patreon, and I think that's the main source of income you have as a channel, right? I mean, apart from, of course, YouTube income we have. I don't know how this works. How engaged are your patrons when it comes to your creative process, and how do you engage with them?
That's an interesting question because it's really swingy. Where like our patrons aren't always coming up to us and being like, "You should do X, Y, and Z with the show." Mostly, our patrons love the show itself, and they just want more of the show, and they do have suggestions and things. But it's mostly us who are interested in getting feedback from them about the show and getting ideas from them. So we kind of coalesce this into a think tank where some of our higher tier patrons around the $10 tier, we invite them for every other week. We invite them into this think tank session where we essentially come with an outline and we're like, this is what we're trying to do. How are we going to do this? Let's brainstorm it together.
Yeah.
And we've had a lot of fun sessions with our patrons. Like we've had patrons who have come in the middle of a session. They've drawn out MS Paint drawings to like illustrate their concept and brought it in. It was beautiful. Like,
That
made me so happy.
That sounds fun.
The most recent short story we wrote was almost completely decided on by them in the think tank session. We had like 15 different premises for the story for that series.
Oh my God, he brought in so many. It was ridiculous. I was like, no, narrow it down. Give them like a few choices. This one and this one and this one and
like
going
5.
into detail about all of them. Finish getting through all of them before we
At
had
the
to
end,
finish.
They were all like, dragon blanket. We want the dragon in the blanket. That's a spoiler, but it won't matter to you speak it out.
That's some cool stuff there. So I have a final question for you, and it's a very important one, and I want you to answer as truthfully as possible. Will we ever find out who these infamous letters are from?
I think so. I think that's going to happen, but I think it's going to take a lot of probing on Talebot's end and a lot of coaxing from us.
I'm truthfully intrigued about this. I mean, every time I'm waiting for the end of the video to listen to what's happening there, because, you know, it's quite interesting how it progressed during the last videos, in fact.
Yeah, I will say they are a really interesting anomaly to us as well. We do a lot. We spend a lot of time figuring stuff out about how this correspondence is going to develop. And like just making it like the right amount of vague.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah, that really hooked me when I first watched your videos. I was like, oh, no.
That's awesome. Thanks for letting me know.
Great. That's good to know. Good feedback. So, first of all, I have just been informed that we have a new subscriber.
Hi, subscriber.
Pika Jakes, thank you so very much. That's amazing. I mean, I was never expecting when we went to this thing to actually get subscribers in, but I mean, thank you. All I can say is thank you very, very, very much. And yeah.
There's a question.
Oh, go on.
From Blocky Most.
Yeah.
Blocky Most. Ever read or write a story where you break the significant elements of a story, plot, character, setting? That's in parentheses.
Oh yeah, that's very common. In fact, I think we did a series on Junji Ito's work. He's a horror mangaka. He makes some really disturbing stuff, really heavy on body horror. He's a great artist. He uses a really unique style for his narratives, where it's really about that page turn. Like he wants you to turn the page and see something shocking and horrific, and for it to be impactful. And if you spend a bunch of time tethering the characters to the audience it's harder to dispose of them, and it's harder to focus on the horror. So he treats his characters like tour guides through the horrific thing that's happening in his story. So by the end of the story, it's like it's perfectly okay if they die. As a member of the audience, I'm not disappointed by that. I just want to see what crazy thing is happening on the last page. I want that page turn to hit me as hard as it can without making me go like, ugh, but like we lost all this character development.
Yeah. So because in a speculative story, oftentimes the character development can just kind of be distracting from the or it's not speculative, is it?
The spectacle.
Spectacle
in the story, yeah.
Yeah, the in the story, which is the main thing that you're trying to display. And so it's interesting to have these blend, not initiative taking characters that just kind of sit there and let you watch what's going on,
and so
not really going one way or another.
And it's like common wisdom for writers. You want to have an active protagonist, you want to have an engaging protagonist, but this is a case where that's just not as effective for the goal of the mangaka. And so as writers, we were like, well, maybe we can try using that in a different medium in writing. And so we wrote a short story, which is our most popular short story, Silhouettes. That is the protagonist character, totally disposable, totally uninteresting, but the event that's unfolding is worth reading. So I think the answer is totally yes. If it's common wisdom, if it's a rule of writing, like at some point in the show, we're probably totally going to break it.
That's
awesome.
Good question, I have to say.
Yeah, thank you.
Very good
and we
question.
have more subscribers, by the way, Dimitri.
What? Really?
Yeah.
No!
You just got two
No!
new ones.
Jeez!
Releases and the Tarkal.
Oh my god, thank you so much, guys! Thank you so very much!
Thanks for supporting
This
World
is
Anvil.
amazing.
You deserve it.
That is
Oh,
amazing.
thank you.
Yeah, I'm kind of like, I wasn't expecting that. Thank you very much, guys. I have nothing to say. Wow. And so we're creating some nice, actually, icons for them, right, Sai? I think you are on the go, in the ball with that. So soon enough, we're gonna have some special subscriber emotes.
Yes, we are working on subscriber emotes. We have, I'm not sure if we already have our regular raid emote ready to go. Secondhand can answer that. But I'm working with another enchanter who's so awesome in graphics, and we're trying to get those emotes out to you guys so that you can have fun with them. So yeah, we'll keep you guys updated whenever they come up and use them on the stream, hopefully.
Right. I think it's time for a raffle, Sai. What do you think?
Yeah.
Ooh, which one?
So first of all, we have to announce the winner from the raffle. Essentially, we have to raffle the people from Twitter, I think. Right?
Yes.
Can I give a drum roll as I click the button?
Sure, ready.
So, the winner of the Twitter raffle, who will be winning essentially the amazing book for map making, is the Apple. The Apple taken.
The apple have taketh the map book.
The Apple's taken. Congratulations, Mr. The Apple's taken.
Person.
Apparently, he has a Twitch as well. Congratulations about that. And he's a juicy fruit and proud Twitch affiliate, TTRPG, and video game nerd.
So this raffle was for anyone who partake on the retweet on
Yes,
Twitter
exactly.
throughout the week for the Maps update celebration, and it is a Maps book, Maps fantasy book, correct?
Yeah.
And we were going to announce the winner of that today. But don't worry, we have some more in-stream raffles for you. So we'll continue with those announcements.
In fact, I think we should be doing it now. Why not, right?
Yes, we're gonna do it right now.
Let's do all the raffles. So
We're gonna just throw all the raffles in your face.
So whoever hasn't actually taken part in the raffle just yet, let's see some exclamation mark raffle from you to take part. Let's give you.
Exclamation. So this is for, which one's this for, Demetrius?
This is going to be the Escapist 2 game from.
Escapist 2 game.
Which is really nice. I had the chance to see some reviews today and got like 9.5 out of 10, which is like freaking amazing for a game lately. And it's from an indie studio as well, which it's good to support. So yeah.
Yep. Is everyone in? Did everyone get their in?
Right.
Get their entry in?
I think they better have. So.
Okay.
1, 2, 3. The winner of the Escapist 2 is Crystal Cyan, apparently. Congratulations, Crystal. Talk to me on Discord after that, and we can actually take care of that and send you the game. I hope you enjoy it as well.
Isn't there one more?
And there is, well, now it's actually the raffle for the Neverwhere raffle.
Yes.
So, for those who don't know, within the week, I finished reading the amazing book called Neverwhere by Neil Gaiman. And I love it. It's so beautiful.
It's so good.
And you know what? For me, it's actually quite interesting because I live in London, so I know these places. And there are so many nuances in the book that I don't think you're going to get if you are not from London. Like, some of the things that are described in the book, it made you chill because you are around this area. It's like, oh. Yeah. Yesterday I was walking through essentially Knightsbridge, and I was like, Knightsbridge. I don't want to say more. I mean, I don't want to spoil it for people who haven't read the book, but yeah, it's quite an interesting one. So
So this raffle does not use. This is not for the commands inside the stream. This is for anyone who has taken part of the Lightning Challenge in our Discord. Correct?
Exactly.
I just want to clarify that. For people in
that
chat.
is not a raffle from inside here, but I will need to open up the randomizer I created to find out who won the raffle. Give me a second, guys. I'm really sorry. Run interference, say dance or something.
Say actually, then I will have people drink.
Actually. How's that?
I didn't actually hear Benji say a lot. I was focusing, like literally, I was truly focusing.
2
Or
on my
great.
game.
Yeah, you were. You and Chloe were great. Like I was like, there's nothing.
Whatever.
I'm gonna do anything.
It's fine.
I love that Dimmy can just be like, oh, I need a randomizer. I'm gonna make it. That's like magic. That's
Well,
the ultimate.
It comes with coding, I guess.
He is.
Coding is-
I think he's a wizard. So.
Coding is real world magic. Like it actually is. Which is a good. I would be surprised if no one's used that as like a premise for like a fantasy.
Well, if
or
they
like a
haven't
sci fantasy
yet,
story.
now they will.
Yeah.
And you
Yeah,
just put
he said it, so it's gonna happen.
Yeah, go for it.
Right, I am ready.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna push the button. The winner is Pika-Jinx!
Oh,
The Void!
Jinx, our newest sub.
A new sub just won, yes!
So
Congratulations, Pika-Jinx! You get a copy of. Oh, that's a lot of. I like the slapping. Yeah, let's clap all together. Congratulations, Pika-Jinx! And yeah, The Void, which I have actually read. It was a good article, and I have read most of them so far. But I will leave comments to you, all of you guys, when I've read all of them. I'm keeping notes, and I will send them all together. So congratulations to Pika-Jinx for winning Neverwhere. I hope you haven't read it, but if you've read it, I think you can read it again.
there's
I like
stuff
raffles.
You will not realize was there on the second. During the first read, you'll find it during the second read.
Oh yeah. I can believe that. Actually, I said actually, and that was
You did. Oh,
yes.
several times.
Yeah, I'm gonna take that as an opportunity. Then I borrow.
No, fine. Have yours. I don't care.
So as I was saying, I'm planning to read it, but this time around I won't do it with Neil Gaiman's audiobook because it's very nice as well. I love Neil Gaiman. Neil Gaiman has a very nice voice. He's a very good narrator as well. But I want next time to read it, not to read the unabridged version, but to listen to the abridged version that has David Concuber and Cumberbatch, by the way, and some other. But actually, a lot of actor again. Actually, by the way, just to be clear,
I think.
get
that's
drunk. So enjoy, guys. So yeah, as I was saying, I would like to listen to the abridged version this time around and listen to it to see, if there are any changes and difference in that.
I have a special affinity for audiobooks at this point in my life.
But
They make things so much easier.
if
I
you
also love audio.
look, in my day, after work and after working in Gold Anvil, I take about 45 minutes of being able to do something that is not sitting on the computer, unless Janet is here, which I take to just do a walk around essentially the area here, the neighborhood. And what I do always is just put something in my ears and just walking around and, enjoying a bit of a different thing than Gold Anvil, because sometimes you need it to escape, I think, for everything.
Yeah.
A break, yeah.
You can just completely burn yourself out if you go too long.
Right. So I think we should continue with our stream. I hope you enjoyed the raffles, guys. Sai, what are we talking about now? Help me out.
So we are going to talk about September 1st, which is the World Anvil Summer Camp Awards ceremony.
Oh my god, that's next week, isn't it?
Yes, it's coming up fast.
Dear God. That's quick. So yeah, next week we're gonna be having a huge beautiful ceremony. We'll be talking about what happened during the summer camp through July. We're gonna be giving some awards out. We're gonna be giving out the raffles. There's gonna be a lot of raffles. I think we have to give out about, how many did Janet say? I think we're giving out about 40 prizes, maybe 50 prizes. It's a lot of prizes next time. So please hang out with us. We're gonna have a lot of raffles and a lot of prizes for people who will just be there. Just to be clear, so there will be things to win even if you haven't taken even part in summer camp this year. So Benji and Chloe are also invited to join us if you want to. It will be fun, and we'll be giving out nice things to people. So nice things. Also, just a reminder, guys, that if you want to get any nice summer camp stuff from the store, that will be the last day you can actually. I said actually. 3 times, in factually.
You're just catching yourself, aren't you?
Yes. I have to, because Benji was talking so much and I'm not talking so much in this stream, so I have to say all these words again. I didn't say that, just to be clear. So yeah, it will be the last day, but we are also getting out some really good new designs, which I'm really happy to say that some of them are designed by what happened? Where did Chloe go? Bye, Chloe!
She just has to do something really quick.
It's okay.
All right. It was nice to meet you, Chloe. Please tell her. That was a smooth exit.
So, I think we have a problem with sound. I suddenly. Oh, the robots. The tailbot is doing things again. Or Discord is actually just. I think we have some technical difficulties, guys. Can you hear the guys correctly, or is it just me having problems here? Oh, technical issues, yeah. There are definitely technical issues. I think our Discord video decided to be very bad with us and not allow us to continue the conversation. Oh. Okay, let's give them some seconds. Sometimes it just fixes itself. I'm really sorry about that, guys. I hope it's not my fault. Dimitris is clear. Yeah, Dimitris is clear because he's essentially the person who's broadcasting, so that thing will happen. I will try to bring the people back. Hello? Are we back?
I see sun.
I think so.
Yes. Okay, good.
I see you guys.
Yeah, we're back. We're back. Yeah! Great. I'm really sorry, guys, for that. I mean,
It was probably because Chloe left. That was
Chloe, come back!
the universe trying to tell us something.
The internet broke, Chloe. Don't do these kind of things.
Yay! We're saved.
And everything is okay again. Right. Guys.
As I was saying, I was trying to mention the dressing up part of the
Oh,
summer
yes, of course.
award ceremony. So
if you don't know what
we're
this
gonna
is,
have
go inside.
Yeah.
Explain to them.
okay, it's a small competition where everyone dresses up for the award ceremony, takes a photo, and how will people submit this photo, Demetrius? Social media, Discord, and we'll vote to see who's all jazzed up.
So yeah, we've run this test first time in December last year in February last year during the ceremony. Sorry, I was confused. February this year during the ceremony of Worldbuilding, and it was a beautiful experience. We got about 10 people, 13 people I think, to send us some photos, and it was a really beautiful experience because we got to see the faces of the beautiful people in the community. Thus, this time around again, we'll be doing the Beautiful People competition, which means that we're expecting you to come dressed up nicely and with slick hair and beautiful like eyelashes and everything like that. Wear your parrot faces and everything like that, and take photo. Send it on the channel, which will be probably in Discord, and then we'll be giving a prize to the person who's the most well dressed, and also we'll be having a lot of fun with each other, which is always the point behind these things, I guess.
Yeah. What's the prize, may I ask?
Oh, I cannot say. It's always a mistake, but it's gonna be a good prize. We always want to do something special about that.
That's
If
awesome.
you want to go extra hard, find the most formal attire in your fictional world on World Anvil and dress as that.
That would be really awesome.
That
Cosplaying into your world.
that raised the bar quite high. I like that. Extra
Dress as
points.
Tailbot for it.
Extra points. I like the idea of Tailbot. I
would
want to
love
see you.
See Tailbot. Yeah.
There's physically no way to do it because my bicep is not like a twig. Well, okay,
Oh.
technically it's not a quick twig.
You're not that far
Or
away.
Take the eye and just have a black background and then just have like an outline
Like the
on your
skeleton
arm.
thing. Yeah, I could do that.
Yeah. That'd be cool.
Right. I think that we're approaching the 1 hour mark, which is amazing because most of the times we don't even do an hour, and we've managed to do
Yeah.
an hour. That's amazing. Thank you very much, guys. It was such a nice thing to have you here. I have to say,
Thanks
we're
for
not
having
we're
us.
not we're not saying goodbye just yet. Wait a second. We have to say two things before we go. First of all, I want to call out to everybody in the community that would like to take part in our blog. As you well know, we have a blog now and we want writers. So if you want to take part and you want to help us actually with the blog, and Sid actually, by the way,
Jeez.
Sigh, I'm so disappointed. So disappointed. No, I'm not. I love you, don't worry. So as I was saying, we want writers. So if you want to take part, talk to one of the enchanters and we'll be more than happy to have you there. We want to talk about world building, we want to talk about worlds, review games, review essentially like YouTube channels. Like maybe we want to write a review about Talebot and Tale Foundry, maybe.
Yeah, that would be great.
Maybe Benji can write it. Impartial review! Impartial review!
You have other things you need to
That's
be
true.
doing.
That's true. I'm lumped,
Don't
but-
pile things onto yourself. You need to get stuff done.
And finally, I would like, before we say goodbye, to say that I think that today we'll be raiding some very amazing people called Countless Heroes, which is part of the Nerdsmith network, which are very good friend of ours, and they're also having their world in Worldbuilding. Andy, correct me if I'm wrong, right? We are raiding today, and we are raiding these guys. Is that correct?
They're in the chat, actually.
Right, so they are having an amazing world which is hosted in Goldanville, and they are creating something very interesting. They're creating a West Marches campaign which is played through live Twitch, but the trick is that all the money they're making through that, they will be going to charity, which is awesome, and we have to give them thumbs up for that. Charity is a very nice thing, to give money to, and yeah, I think that's pretty much all from us. And in that point, Sai, thank you so very much for hosting us. Chloe,
Yeah.
Benji, it was an amazing.
Frozen.
Oh no, no!
On the stream. So, yeah. We're being taken over.
No! Everybody's frozen.
Oh, that's smiling.
Okay,
Can you still hear me?
we can still hear you, but if the guys are frozen, which is
Oh,
that is like the worst thing ever. Like, yeah.
I'm sorry.
Oh, the guys are gone,
Okay.
and
Yeah,
you are
we're
gone
coming
too.
back. Oh gosh. Oh, we're falling apart.
Are you back? You're back. We're back. Everything is fine. Everything is fine.
Are we?
Don't panic. Don't panic. Oh, now Sai is frozen. Guys, quickly say hello and say bye before you get frozen again.
Oh, bye!
Bye.
Bye! Guys, thank you very much for being here. It was awesome to have you here. I'm pretty sure that our beloved Sai would also have said goodbye. Hero Sai, are you here?
I think so. I'm so sorry.
It's okay. Let's all say goodbye as we still have time with 1, 2, 3. Bye!